Hey, how's it going, guys? Long time no talk. I know it's been a while since my last video, um, but I told y'all I'll do a video to update you on phase three and further. Um, just got done finished Christmas and everything with the family. Went with the fiance down to Florida to spend it with her family this year. Um, was gonna make one in my truck last week before I got home. I got real busy, and I ain't gonna lie, I just completely forgot. I'm kind of forgetful at times. So I'm just sitting here waiting for the lady to get home and us to go on like a little date night tonight before I leave in the morning tomorrow. Um, so I figured it's a perfect time to sit here in the bed just to make a quick little video updating you about phase three. Also, tomorrow is my last day of phase three. I mean, technically last week was, but tomorrow is I have to do my last little test out, and then I'll be done with phase three. But I'll get into that. So, I actually wrote down a couple little notes this time. But, so yeah, just phase three. I'll talk about that first, since that's what the video is going to be about. I don't like wasting people's time, kind of getting to the point. So, phase three started on my own November 1st. Was out for most of the month. It went pretty smoothly. Phase three and with your trainer, I mean, there's not much difference besides you being on your own. When you get loads, your FM, your training FM, will call you when he gives you a new workflow. He'll go over it with you. He'll be like, hey, this is where you're picking up, this is where you're dropping off. He'll tell you if you have an appointment, if you don't have an appointment, how many miles it is, if it's tarped or not, the type of commodity you're picking up. If you have any questions about how to strap it or chain it or whatever, ask him. He'll go over. He'll just pretty much tell you everything. If there's any special instructions, like you got to call these people with a certain amount of time out, or just he'll go over every little detail with you. At least mine did. I can't speak for all the training FMs, but mine did. Got any questions, ask him. If not, he'll send it to you. You start the load. And so before I get any further, the way the workflows and the loads work with Roehl, again, it's my first trucking company. I don't know how every trucking company does it. I can only speak of how Roehl does it. So you have the app on your phone, but you also have the little PC in the truck. They'll send you a pre-plan. Like I said, he'll call you. I think they only do this when you're in training. Once you're out of training, they won't call you anymore. They'll just send it to you. You go over it and everything like that. But they send you the pre-plan. Pre-plan will tell you how many empty miles you're driving, how many loaded miles you're driving, the total amount of miles, where you're picking up, if you have an appointment with that place, if there's parking overnight, if there's a scale on site, if there's restrooms on site, all that kind of stuff. It'll tell you all that. It'll tell you where you're delivering to. Again, if there's scale on site, restrooms on site, overnight parking allowed, it'll tell you all that. I'll tell you if you have an appointment. If you don't have an appointment, it'll just say, hey, you can get there as early as this time. That doesn't mean you have to be there at that time. It just says that's as early as you can get there. That's when they're pretty much open. That's kind of just the general pre-plan. So it tells you all the basic information. Once they send it to your PC, you'll go over on the PC, and you'll go over the load information. You'll start the workflow. You'll go over the load information. Again, it'll tell you everything. For flatbed, it'll tell you if it's a full tarp or not. It'll generally tell you like what type of commodity you're hauling, whereas if it's lumber, steel, that type of stuff. If it's tarped or not, all that general stuff. You complete that, and then you start your going towards the place you're picking up. It'll also tell you like where your fuel stops are at, and it'll tell you how much fuel you'll get, because not every fuel stop they have you fill up. Sometimes, depending on your weight, depending on if you're where you're going and everything like that, the planners, they already know how much fuel and everything you have. They'll only have you get like 50 or 60 gallons of fuel. Uh, Most of the time, at least for me, my experience so far, it's been filling up most of the time. But there's a few times where I've only had to get, hey, 50 gallons, hey, 60 gallons, stuff like that. But it'll tell you when you click on it, it'll tell you the fueling instructions. It'll tell you all that. Literally, like I said in the other video, their workflow is step by step. It takes you through every little process, like one baby step at a time. It's extremely hard to mess it up. Not saying you can't. I've gotten jumbled up with it a little bit, but it's almost foolproof, and it's pretty easy. Pretty easy. Um, so that's kind of the workflow. I can't really go into major detail without, if I was in the truck actually showing it to you, which I may in the future make a video. Again, I'll have to talk with Roehl about that. I was told that, sometimes they're kind of finicky about making videos with their trucks and while you're working and everything. So that's why I didn't make a video while I was in the truck. One, I forgot, but two, also I wasn't sure if they wanted me to or not. So I can't really go into detail without actually showing it to you. That's the best kind of explaining I can do to you. It's real easy. Maybe in a video in the future, I'll actually go over the PC and I'll show you like step by step. I'll show you how easy it is and everything like that. If they're cool with that. So that's kind of the workflow. Your daily life kind of consists of getting your pre-plan, going over your pre-plan, trip planning, kind of figuring out where you're going to end up in the day, looking at the truck stops in the area, rest areas. I have an app called Trucker Path. I have the free version. I didn't pay for the GPS and all that because the co-pilot and the computer in the truck works fine. So I didn't pay for it, but I have a magnetic mount on my truck, or inside the cab of my truck, and my phone stays connected to that magnetic mount, and it's constantly plugged in. And I have Trucker Path up constantly, and I have it showing pretty much in like a 50-mile radius. So if I ever need to, oh shit, I'm about to piss my pants, or I need to use the bathroom, I can look down real quickly, see a truck stop coming up, how far away it is and stuff like that. Or if I need to, if I'm just wanting to see if there's way stations coming up, it'll tell you the way stations, it'll tell you rest areas, it'll tell you everything you want it to tell you. You can go in there and configure what you want it to show and what you don't want it to show. But I like to use that with my trip planning, especially because I'm gonna be honest with you, they harp on you about trip planning, knowing where you're gonna be at the end of the day, but that's not realistic. Sometimes you can get holed up at these places and it takes a lot longer than what you accounted for. Traffic delays, weather. I mean, there's just so many things out there that can throw a wrench in all your plans that it's almost... I've probably ended up where I planned I was going to end up like 3 times. Most of the time I don't end up where I planned. So that's another excuse me, that's another reason why I keep Trucker Path open, is so I can see, okay, I have this many hours left on my clock, I think I can probably get this far, let me see if there's any truck stops in the area. Good thing about Trucker Path is if drivers keep it updated, which they usually do a good job at like the big truck stops and a lot of those type places, like your Flying J's, Pilots, Loves, all that. It'll show you how many driving spots are available. They'll be like, hey, there's some spots left, or hey, there's really only reserved spots left, or hey, there's many, But I'll play it off of that, and I'll look in the how many miles I have left, and that's kind of how I've been doing it. And there's only been 2 nights where I wasn't able to get to a truck stop, and in those 2 nights I got to a rest area, so it's just no showers, which sucks, but it's been working out good for me. Speaking of the clock, if you're not good at time management, I'm not saying this job ain't for you, but this job is a big proponent to it, is time management, knowing how to run your clock. I'm still learning. I'm not the best at it, so I don't want to give advice and pointers right now. I'm still figuring out what works best for me and all that. I've only been doing this for 2 months by myself, so I don't want to tell you what's best and what's not. You'll figure it out on your own, kind of what I've been doing. Maybe in the future when I get better at this, I'll put some pointers out there, but right now I don't feel comfortable putting pointers out there for people when I myself haven't really mastered it or anything like that. But I haven't had a huge issue with it, but time management, knowing how to run that clock out, or run that clock and not be in violation, not run out of hours and stuff, and still maximize your time to make money and all that kind of stuff. It's the main proponent of this game we call trucking. If y'all ain't too familiar, if maybe this is one of your first videos, you're even thinking about trucking, and maybe you're like me and you didn't even know nothing about the hours of service, so a brief explanation, not going too many detail, is your main big clock is your 70-hour work week clock. You have 70 hours in your 7-day week to work. That clock only goes down when you're on duty or driving. Driving is on duty. So anything you're doing while on duty, like loading, unloading, strapping, all that type of stuff, anything that pertains to your job, that runs down your 70-hour clock for the week. When you're off duty or sleeping or anything like that, your 70-hour clock's not running down. Within that 70-hour clock, each shift you have every day is a 14-hour clock. That clock, from the moment you start it, runs down 14 hours. It never stops. It keeps going. So the moment you start that 14-hour clock, you can't stop it or pause it or anything like that. So within that 14 hours is when you have to get all your driving and everything done, because once that 14 hours runs out, you can't drive anymore. Some people will say you can still do on duty type stuff in it. I don't want to say I'm on duty while that 14-hour clock is out, so I'm done for the day by the time that 14-hour clock is out. Within that 14-hour clock, you have a 11-hour clock, which says you can only drive for 11 hours a day max. So you have 14 hours to work, but only 11 of those hours to drive. Now, I'm not saying you'll drive all 11 hours every day, especially on flatbed. You won't. A lot of the times your 14-hour run up before your 11-hour does. But you got the 11 hours total drive. In that 11-hour time, you can only drive for 8 hours consecutively. So once you drive for 8 hours, you have to take a 30-minute break. That break can be off duty, sleeper berth, or on duty. It'll still go down when you're on duty too. You just can't drive. So you can stop, pull over for 30 minutes, do whatever you got to do, piss, buy some food, make you some food, adjust your straps and tarps, whatever you got to do for 30 minutes, and then you can keep driving. So you can only drive for 8 consecutive hours. Now, to reset your 14-hour clock every day, you have to take a 10-hour break, 10 consecutive hours off. So you have to take a 10-hour break, and that resets your 14-hour clock. And to reset the 70-hour clock, the only way to reset it is to take what they call a 34-hour reset, where you have to take 34 hours consecutively off, and then your 70-hour work week clock will reset over. There's other way to do it called running on recaps. I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to go into detail with that because I understand what it is. I can't explain it real well without like writing it all down on paper and everything. But mainly flatbed, at least a Roehl flatbed, we don't run on recaps. We do resets every weekend. So I haven't done a recap. I haven't ran on recaps the whole time. Every weekend we do a 34-hour reset for flatbed. I can't speak for the dry van or the reefers. I can only speak for the flatbed. So I don't want to go into the recaps and everything. But if you don't want to do a 34-hour reset, there's ways to keep working on recaps. So that's the brief explanation of your hours of service. there's more detail to it, more to go into it, but I just wanted to do a little brief explanation for people. Maybe this is like their first few videos they've watched and they don't know anything about trucking, because like I said, I didn't know any of that until I started looking videos up and everything like that. So that's the workflow, that's the hours of service. I know another big question is pay. I keep getting questions on all my video. I'm pretty sure I went over my pay, but I get paid right now 56 cents per mile. And once I finish phase 3, so I can't accurately say on it right now, but once I finish phase 3, I'll unlock, I guess it's other companies, they call it like a sliding pay or something like that, sliding scale. Basically, if they give you a load and it's like 80 miles, 100 miles, you're going to get paid more than your 50 cents or your base, whatever. I'm just going to say 56 cents because that's mine, but it'll be whatever your base is. You'll get paid more than that. I don't know how much more. I've heard some people say they get paid like upwards of like $1.50 per mile, or, you know, I've heard different amounts from different people, so I don't know the math. I don't know how they break it down and how they do it. But that pretty much is the rule. It's like anything under 100 miles, you're going to get paid like the most technically because it's the fewest miles. Like 100 to 200, you'll get paid a little bit less than that, but still more than your base. Like 200 to 300, a little bit less than that, but still more than your base. And it keeps going like that into every like bracket until I think you get to like over 550 miles or 500 miles. 501 miles, sorry. Anything 501 miles and over, you would just get your base cent per mile. But anything under 500 or under, they'll have that sliding scale pay. Again, since I haven't finished phase 3, it doesn't update in the app until you finish phase 3, and it doesn't show you how much you get paid until phase 3. So that's why I can't like tell you how much they pay me, because I don't know. And I'm just being real with you. I don't know. Once I find that out, I'll update that in a further video. But as flatbed, with the pay, you also get paid $30 to tarp and untarp. So each time you get a load and you have to tarp it or untarp it, that's $60 added to your paycheck each week. It sucks tarping and untarping, but it's essentially like $30 an hour, because it can take like an hour and a half to tarp and untarp. It's going to take you longer at first, but then once you get used to it, you'll get quicker. So it's essentially like $30 an hour. It's not bad. I mean, you'll definitely notice it, especially if all your loads are tarp. You'll notice it on the paycheck. You get detention pay pretty much as if you show up to your appointment time, or you get there like say 7, and once you're there for more than 2 hours after your appointment time, so you get there at 7, you're still there at 9. Anytime you're there from there on out, you get detention pay. So say you get there at 7, but you don't leave until 11. Well, for the first 2 hours, you don't get detention pay. But then from 9 to 11, you get detention pay. So you get 2 hours of detention pay. Detention pay is different for dry van and flatbed. Flatbed gets more detention pay than dry van and reefer. I don't know the difference. Flatbed generally gets paid more in every category than dry van and everything. But I will say, I've only claimed detention one time. For flatbed, at least in my experience, they get you loaded and unloaded pretty quickly. It really just depends on how fast you can untarp and unstrap and everything to get you unloaded. And to get loaded, they're pretty quick about it. Again, that detention pay does not count you securing the load. It only counts for them loading you. So, like I said, from 7 to 11, if that's how long it actually took them to load you, you get detention pay. If they load you in an hour, but you're still there for 3-4 hours securing it, you don't get detention pay, because that's on you. They've already done their job. It's you, that's taking forever now. So you don't get detention pay just because it took you forever to secure it. You get layover pay, which pretty much is if you're within 50 miles of your shipper receiver, and you have to be there for at least 24 hours, or you're laid over, you get paid for that. Again, flatbed's more than dry van. I don't know the breakdown. I've never had to claim layover pay, so I don't even know how much flatbed gets paid. Let's see, and I don't want to go into detail with it, especially since they're about to change it again. But when you come on and you go through training, they'll tell you about their per diem. They do per diem, which is nice. I'm not gonna lie, it's really nice. But they are about to change it in I think January. So I'm not going to talk about it because I don't know what they're changing it to. So it may be completely different by the time you get here. So I don't want to touch on that. But they're changing it, but they're still going to do per diem. So regardless of what they change it to, if it's good, if it's worse or better, know that Roehl does do per diem pay, which is really nice. If nobody knows what per diem pay is, kind of in a nutshell, it's tax-free money. There's a caveat to that and catch to it, but they explain it to you. But it is nice. It is nice. And I think that's about it for pay. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments. I'm generally good at responding to the comments, unless I'm just busy. And that's kind of why this video is taking so long, is because I'm not gonna lie, I'm busy every day. Obviously driving, but like securing loads and just trip planning and everything. I'm by the end of the day, I'm physically exhausted, because I'm not gonna lie, securing these loads, I'm not used to the physical labor like that. I let myself go over the years. I've gotten fat, and securing these loads has been kicking my ass. It's like a gym workout. I've lost 20 pounds since I've started on my own. Not trying it. I still eat like shit, but just doing all that physical labor and not eating as much because I'm driving a lot and everything, I've lost 20 pounds. So I'm just physically and mentally tired at the end of the day, that when I do park, I want to relax for a little bit, and I go to bed. I go to bed early. Usually go to bed between 7 and 8 and wake up between 2 and 3 in the morning. Because the earlier you start your day, the earlier you can finish, and the easier it is for parking. Because if it's past 6 o'clock, good luck finding a parking spot, at least at a truck stop and a rest area. Those things get filled up quick. So I like to start my day real early, and so I can end it early. I think that's about it. Just go over a general day in the life of a truck driver, at least flatbed for Roehl, and for me. So I'll get my pre-plan. I'll figure out when I need to, say I'm going to pick up a load tomorrow, figure out how far away it is. Say I need to get there at 7, but I'm 2 hours away, so obviously I'm not going to wake up at 2 o'clock, because it's only a 2-hour drive. So I'll wake up with enough time to get me there at 7. Do my pre-trip in the morning, head on the way, give me some breakfast and everything, some coffee, or I drink Java Monster. I don't like coffee. Java Monster hella bad for you, but it's not that strong coffee flavor, and I don't like energy drinks, so it's kind of like a mix between. It's pretty tasty. Super bad for you though. So get you your coffee, your breakfast, whatever. Eat that. Head on the way. Get to the shipper. Get loaded. Secure the load with however it needs to be secured. You take pictures of your securement, send it to your FM. They'll let you know if it's good or not, and then you deuce out. You start heading to wherever you're gonna head. And depending on how many miles, how many days it takes you, I don't know where you're gonna be delivering to. And you just drive there. Stop for the day. You find a truck stop, rest area, whatever your cup of tea is, wherever you like. I get there. First thing I do is take a shower. I like my showers. I hate missing any showers. I take my shower. I get me something to eat, and then I have a mobile internet and a laptop, and I chill in my truck. I hook my laptop up and I play video games, because it eases my mind, and I like to get on and play video games with my friends and everything like that. I'll work if when I stop, if I need to fix anything with the load or check anything, I'll do all that first. But once I'm relaxed in the back of the truck, just play on my laptop, and then I'll call I'll uh, FaceTime my fiance and my kids and talk with them for a while, and then I go to bed. Like I said, I'm in bed by 7 or 8, and that's kind of like a daily life. I mean, it's nothing like glamorous or anything, but it's not hard. It is mentally exhausting driving for that many times, having to stay focused on everything constantly. It does mentally drain you. And like I said, for flatbed, you'll get a workout. You'll definitely get a workout, especially throwing those big lumber tarps, because those things are heavy. Um, so you're definitely going to get a workout for flatbed. You'll be physically exhausted. You'll lose weight, you know, as long as you're not overeating. You'll definitely lose weight. All in all, the job so far, I would give it a thumbs up. I give it an 8 out of 10. The job in itself is not hard. It's really not. You drive, you secure. Don't be a dumbass. Don't get in a wreck. Don't play on your phone while you're driving. Oh my God, I see so many people on their phone while I'm out on the road. It fucking drives me insane. I'm talking about regular drivers and truck drivers too. Just sitting on their phone in their hands, man. It pisses me off. I guess I was a cop before, so I don't know. It pisses me off. But you drive, you secure, you show up, you treat people with respect. Be nice to people. They'll be nice to you. And that's about the job. The only part of the job, and I won't lie to you guys, the only part of the job that I'm not liking, and that's hard on me, is being away from the family. And I already knew that going into this. Me and my fiance, we sat down and talked about it, and I recommend anybody who has small children and a wife or girlfriend, whatever, seriously talk about it, because it's rough watching your kids and everything on FaceTime and everything. That part's rough. It's definitely going to take some getting used to, but it's nothing we can't get through. I'm enjoying my time with my family while I'm here. Enjoying time with the kids. The kids, they love it. My daughter, she's 3. Every time I come home, she just runs and jumps in my arms and hugs me and everything. So it definitely feels good when you're home, but then when you're leaving, it does suck. That's the only hard part of the job. That's why I won't give the job a 10 out of 10 or a higher score or anything like that. I'll say 7 or 8 out of 10, because the job in itself is really easy and you can make really good money on it. But being away from family, especially if you have young kids, it's rough. That's why a lot of drivers are older guys, retired. Their kids are all grown up, moved away, or single guys, stuff like that. You don't see too many people my younger. I'm in my 30s, but younger with a family with young kids. You don't see too many people in my demographic in truck driving. Especially over the road truck driving. Maybe home daily truck driving, but not over the road truck driving. So I'm kind of a rarity that I've at least seen. I'm not saying they don't exist. Obviously they do. It's just not the overwhelming majority. So definitely talk about that with your loved one, if you are planning on getting into this job, because that is rough. And the last thing I talked about pay, but I know a lot of people are going to ask me, what's your paychecks? How much are you making? Again, I'm new. I'm not the best at using the clocks. They don't want to overwhelm you right away. So I would lie to you if I said I'm making like buku amounts of money. Am I making more money than what I was making at my previous job? Double. On most weeks. I literally this last week made more in 1 week than I made in 2 weeks on the last job. Am I making the most money? No. If I had to tell you an average so far, I would say about anywhere between 850 and 1,000 is my average. No, not even 1,000. 850, 950. Say as the average. The most I've made in a week is like 1,200. And the work, not in counting the home time weeks, I don't really count that. The least amount I've made while out is about 780. So 780 to 1,200. That's my ballpark so far that I've been making. Again, that's not the best, I know. I already know there's gonna be people in here. Oh my God, you should at least be making 1,000 a week, if not more. Like, what the hell is wrong with y'all? Blah blah. Look, man, if that's you and that's your life, well, you might not want to start here because you're not gonna probably make that much money starting out. Is it possible once you get some experience and once you get better and faster? Yes, definitely. I know guys here that make good money. Also, once you're here for a certain amount of time, you get pay raises, so you make more cents per mile. So the possibility to make money is good, but you're not going to make it starting off. Okay, um, go find somewhere else if that doesn't suit you. It's good for my family. It's double what I was making as a police officer. The only downside is I'm not home every day. So yeah, but all right, guys, this video is a lot longer than what I want it to be, mainly because I ramble on. I'm not good at. I need to start like just saying shit to the point and then editing it out and jump cutting to the stuff instead of just letting the video run on. But I'm not good at like editing and making videos and everything like that. I just like to do it all in one take. So, all right. Till next time, I will make another video. Again, I'm pretty much done with phase 3, so I'm kind of just starting on my own now. You know, like without training and everything. I will make videos in the future. I'll try to make one within the next month before I come home, or well, my computer's here, so I won't be able to upload the video until I'm home. But I don't know when I'll be able to make another video, but it'll probably be within the next month, and just kind of give me an update and going from there, seeing what y'all guys would like to see or know and everything. Just let me know in the comments future videos ideas, like would y'all like to see a tour of the truck I got? Would y'all like to kind of see me going over the PC and the computer, giving an overview of it? Would you like to see like a securement video? Just let me know some ideas of what y'all guys would like to see, and when I'm able to make a video of it, I will. All right, later.